What's up, Disciple fam? My name is Skybreak, and we're back with yet another tutorial back at the Disciple HQ in Los Angeles. Today I'm going to be breaking down my track, Steal That Shine, with Virus Syndicate and Prima. Let's get into the project. So this track was made in two separate projects. Virus Syndicate originally agreed to collaborate with me back in like January 2022-ish, which was a really surprising collab for me because obviously I'm a big fan of the label, and I don't think there's been a UK grime color-based song. Well, there wasn't at that point. Since then, there's been Level with Ace-Aura. But at first I was like, whoa, am I pioneering like UK grime color bass? So I got really inspired, and I kind of wrote this almost trappy, colorful poopery right here. So here's what that sounds like. This is the first project before I imported the stems and made it the song, the breakbeaty song we all know and love today. So besides some layering and mixing tweaks, the intro is pretty much identical. So we'll go back through individual layers of that. The drop is completely different. It's the same pattern and a lot of the same basses. Unfortunately, some things did not transfer over because I just recently switched to desktop. But it's the same basic gist, and luckily I rendered the stems before there were all these compatibility issues. So here's what that kind of sounds like. Yeah, very empty. But this is what they wrote over. Oh, this was a cool idea. Originally, the little, like, refill that comes in every, like, response in the call and response used to have this Disciple We Don't Play vocal stem in it. So the hope was for them to write some extra bars over those sections, but they didn't, which is fine because the verses go infinitely hard. But it allowed me to be more creative with actual bass design in the next project. But yeah, originally the idea was going to be like call, color bass, color bass, color bass, and then it was going to be response, rap fuckery. So we have that going on. Other than that, what can I go over in the drop? Then we'll bounce back to the intro. That stayed in the original. So what is this? Poyos Nighter? Oh yeah, I don't know what this was. It's like we were trying to do our own all-nighter that didn't go very well. Because there's this company, Art by Form, that does these all-nighter compilations where you have 24 hours to make a track. And sometimes I just kind of fiend for the motivation that I get from that. So my friends and I decided to do that. So we did this big sound design jam for a song that never happened. It's just this very I think it's literally just a Porter Robinson Nurture song that I've chopped up and thrown through a few effects. I'm hearing a little bit of an Echo Boy Jr. tail on that, which is a really good slapback delay plugin. So check that out. That's dope. I have these breakbeats here. I was like attempting to do the breakbeaty feel that is in the final, but I did not have the motivation or skill level to do that here apparently. So we fixed that up later, once again. We have Harmer Reesery, which is really high passed. Okay, this is cool. So I'm just using this for some high-end texture. Like the buzz is coming from this Reese that kind of does the thing. It does not sound great on its own, but adds a little bit of crunch to our high-end layers. Got our sub. Never guess what it's gonna be. Whoa, Ultra Sub by Nasco. I'm like gonna stop saying that I make my own subs at this point because it seems all my finished songs have this Nasco Ultra Sub in it. What else we got? Oh, a little transient layer. I went over this in my breakdown of Soul Shards, also done at this very building in Los Angeles, so go check that out. What else do we have? More high-end texture. Well, actually, I want to go over this later because that's also in the intro. Some Danny Demand hype layers, and an ARP. I think it just sounds like a saw wave with a little bit of an envelope and lots of delay and dispersers. Whoa, crazy. Whoa, that is not right. Cool. Oh, this is cool. I'm sampling this menu sound. I want to say this is from like a Wii game, because I had a period of time in I guess this would be early 2022. In early 2022 when I was just obsessed with putting these random Wii Play sounds in it, like just like the menu UI, because it's so Frutiger Arrow Nurture Core. No one's going to understand that. I'm so embarrassing. But it's very 2008 nostalgic sounding, and I feel like a lot of them are really cool for transitions and that sort of subconscious nostalgia, especially people my age where we're 20 and that's what we grew up on. Woo, crazy. So we've got that. Also in the intro, cool segue, I guess. I wrote this tune around the Show Up acapella. Virtual Riot Show Up featuring Virus Syndicate. Such a slapper. So the tune was always kind of made for that fast-paced rap flow. So yeah, here's what it sounded like before I got a vocal. God, the mix is so bad on this old version, but you kind of get the idea. In terms of individual elements, let's get into that. The main kind of, I guess, Skybreaky thing going on here is these little crystal-y things. Yeah, let's just enable all the effect. Where's this reverb automation? Whoops, let's take that out. So yeah, so in the intro, we have this sound. This project is such a clusterfuck. So it starts out very echoey and kind of... very granular. And what I'm doing here is I have a crystallizer on the chain just at the very, very beginning, and just gradually, this splice value, which is the length of each delay hit, just comes further and further down. Why is it... It's not doing a good job at that. Here, this is what it's supposed to sound like. So it just gradually comes down. We start to hear a little bit of a comb filter effect that's coming up. And then it just gets so tight at the end because the reverb's coming down. Whoop, shut up. And then the crystallizer is also coming down, so we get like a combination of really quick delays, and then they just slowly go so fast that they're tonal, and then all of a sudden it's really dry and it kicks into the beat. So that's kind of what's going on in the intro, then just a little Breeze bass line. In terms of the actual patch for that, so that was a long tangent. It's 2 layers. We have this bamboo thing. This is from the, I want to say it's the Fairlight something library, but you can find a lot of old synthesizer patches online for free, just one-shot samples of them, and I've found they're really fun to drag in as layers. A lot of them made up SNES General MIDI stuff before it was known as General MIDI, and then there's all these sounds that aren't commonly used as well. So Fairlight CMI, I think is what it's called. Don't quote me on that. I'm not very good at remembering things. Then we also have the Serum, which is our main sound with the crystallizer and everything. That is just, whoa, just a sine wave, crazy. Which is weirdly panned to the right for some reason. I guess that's intentional. I mean, I guess it evens out with the crystallizer. So yep, we have the crystallizer that's automating around, that gives it that little metallic open-close thing going on. High-pass filter. I've really enjoyed using wave shapers just very lightly like this recently. OTT, endless smile reverb, which is very nice. And this magnetite, which came with my interface for free. That was really cool. And then a snap heap with this mid-side disperser. So this is really good if you have something slightly offset to the right or left due to a stereo effect or some panning fuckery that you're doing. This mid-side disperser is a really creative way of kind of rebalancing the stereo field. So yeah, it does some phase dispersion. I mean, that's what a disperser is. And if you do it on both channels, suddenly it turns this very offset sound. Like, whoa, that's all happening in this ear right now. And it becomes a bit more even. I guess it's a subtler effect than... Oh, because it's off, duh. So yeah, there we go. offset in the right ear. And now way more balance. Whoa, suddenly. And this is a very transparent one, but it's also really cool for chucking on your bass bus, because it kind of gives everything the same stereo image. It's really cool. Now let's get into crystally bits. Woo! I have this high-end texture that I'm just compressing the heck out of it with Fruity Compressor. Then I have this Ubic G, which is a granular delay. It's kind of similar to Crystallizer, but it's a lot more kind of transparent and objective. It's also really fun for sound design jams, because if you bring this grain size down, you can get like... Yeah, you can't really hear the difference, can you? But in this case, I have the grain size all the way up to max. I have the scale up an octave. So we get this little cool tail on it. So without these effects. So without this, it would be like... With it. See, it gives us that little delay, cool tail thing. And we're compressing it right before it, so every little peak and trough in this crystally weird jam is kind of hitting at the same level. We have a little bit of wave shaper on there to give us a little bit more crunch. And then we high pass the heck out of it, because yes, this sound has a lot of tonal content, but this is just kind of a sprinkly high-end dust. Most of our tonal content is going to come from that motif that we have going on. And then we also have a fruity balance, which just comes up and down at various points to make sure that it's not clashing. It's not very well automated. Is this it, actually? Alright, there's just a fruity balance on there. Whatever. But in terms of how to make this actual sound, I took a kalimba, or I guess it was from that Fairlight CMI thing. I took like a kalimba or marimba or mallet sample, and I just ran a really, really, really fast arpeggio through it. And I just took a bunch of those, crystallized the heck out of it, and when you render it to audio, you just get that sprinkle dust. Very nice. You can hear a lot of crystallizery artifacts. So that's kind of giving this intro a lot of its depth. So without it, it would just sound like this. We still have the funky crystallization, but this just... Now we got all the watery wackiness coming in the very, very back of your ears. We have a little crash cymbal that hits on the first one. Easy peasy. ARP granular. This is really easy to make. I'm just going to speed run one for you guys really quick. Boom, 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 boom. So take a sine wave. We're going to add a little bit of an envelope to it, and we're just going to play an immense chord. Boom, boom, boom. Bring it up an octave as well. So yeah, if I just duplicate this a bunch of times... if you right-click on this serum thing, there should be a button that says Note on Random. We're going to apply that to the pan. So it picks a different bit every time. And then if we apply a little arpeggiator to it, we just go to this little gear wrenchy thing. We click on this little question mark. Whoa! Now it's all magical and everywhere. So I just took this, I recorded it into Edison, and I started playing around with a granulizer. So I'm just going to quickly demonstrate that for you. There's a few other things that are cool to do, but you'll have to sub to my Patreon to find those out. This is the basic idea, though. That's really cool. Granulizer. Chuck this into here. And yeah, if we just play a little C5, which is the bass note in FL, and we just loop this up for a bit. As we turn down the wave spacing... Whoa! Feels like we're like a quiet bison or flume. And because of that note on random pan that we're doing early, you just get these crazy stereo effects. I like to play around with different times. And it's just, yeah, infinite fairy sprinkle dust. So I got a lot of that going on in the intro. Obviously, this has been very processed, but that's the basic sound for that individual sound. I have these long, almost 6-minute jams of me just twiddling these random granular knobs, and they're really fun to resample. I have a track called Seraphim, which is a sequel to an older song called Angels and Demons, and this was my first time kind of dicking around with this technique, and it's become a bit of a staple in my production recently, so there you go. That's the secret sauce for the signature Skybreak twinkle. Ooh, crazy. Other things going on here, just some drums. I found this pack called the Ultimate Slight Kit, and it's just like 3 gigabytes of like really overused trap drums. I guess I got this cymatic snare. I think I literally swapped these out later anyway, when we go into Project 2. I also have this cone sound, like water sample. I had some little automations to make that feel a bit more like a shaker. Little field recording of some rain and thunder. Just some more kind of space in the really, really high end. I have these little Tibet bells that I got off Splice. Those were sick. And yeah, that's the intro. That jump scared me. Okay, we have more water samples actually as well. This Laxity Foley thing. Pretty nice. I like just adding natural samples. Not even... A lot of my students actually will ask me the question, how do you add Foley and make it sound natural and cool? Oh, well, my trick is I will just put a long Foley sample in like a random part. Almost like... It almost serves the same purpose as like a vinyl crackle. Like, it's not supposed to be there. But since it's in this random point in your song, it just kind of feels like, oh yeah. It's really quiet. But it just subtly enhances it. Do you know what I mean? That's probably a bad way of explaining that, but... Moral of the story, just put random Foley samples everywhere. They sound cool. They don't need to be in rhythm. Just stick around. Then we just kind of have this... It picks up pace a little bit. I have this cello sample that I was sent by Neat for a drum and bass color-based tune that just was never finished. Maybe we'll work on that. But this was going to be over the B drop. Just add some nice progression to it. Skybreakification piano fuckery right here too. I have these little strums that are just very off-grid. I like holding down Alt and just doing these really like micro notes, like not like that, but just picking up notes within your key and just like kind of acting like a pre-shift into your note. Oh, so pretty. I could do that all day. But we don't have all day, so I'm going to move into the next project. That is essentially it. I'm just perusing. Oh, there's one more thing I want to show you guys. There's the second drop that never made it to the final. I was feeling really inspired by Convexity at this point. So this second drop is just really weird and behind the beat. This did not make it to the final. My CPU loves it. Yeah, okay, the CPU is not going to let us listen to that. But, what was I doing here? I feel like I'm resampling something goofy. So the main sound actually comes from resampling drop 1. I learned this from an AU5 tutorial. If you just consolidate all of your drop 1 basses to a WAV and then just place them in like a new order in drop 2, maybe put on some more goofy effects. Sounds like I have like some vocodec on this. No, it's just form and shifted down. Interesting. Yeah, it just opens the line of possibilities because you're no longer needing to design all new sounds for a second drop that makes sense. You're just recycling the sounds from drop 1 and kind of reprocessing them into their own thing. Where's the melody coming from is what I'm curious. Oh, all this. It's these really processed ad-libs. I think I'm running them through the same chain as the basses, so they're both kind of getting crunched by the OTT together. And it sounds pretty cool. Just wanted to show you guys that. It's not in the final. I don't even think I used the stems in the final, but it's pretty sick. Project 2. Definitely wasn't waiting here for 15 minutes for this thing to open, but we got it. So this is after I got the Virus Syndicate vocal. I had originally finished that initial sketch in... Well, I started it in January, and I finished it in April, and I was just like, okay, this is a fun thing. You know, it's not an amazing tune, but I sent it out to the boys at Virus Syndicate, and I was like, you know, okay, if you want to rap over this, sure. I don't really expect you to, but it would be really cool. And in January 2nd of this year, all of a sudden they're like, yo, we finished the stems. Whoa, you did? What the heck? So they hit up me and my manager, and they had the vocals, and it was really good. And they were like, we also got our friend Prima to sing a hook, and we have this now. And it's like, okay, cool. So I listened. I was like, this is fire. This is spot on. And I feel like I've not worked hard enough on this. So I completely stemmed out the tune, and I completely rewrote the instrumental around this new idea because I was now completely fed off of their inspiration. So here's what that sounds like. The CPU loves this one. You can see that I made this on my new desktop.
It's Virus Syndicate. Skybreak. Disciple. Nobody gonna save you. Stop praying to a pagan savior.
Oh boy, there's all sorts of plugins I don't have on this, but we'll be able to bear. So for one, remember I talked about that splice kit? Threw that out the window. This is a Lizdek sample. Lizdek's a good friend of mine, and he has two really good sample packs out called Digital Forest and Ecor, and they have some of the craziest, more of that like Sable Valley gravy type drums. They go from everything from like really cool garage rims to really tight trap snares and kicks, and I've been using them a lot recently. And then I layered that original like clappy thing from Cymatics with another Lizdek drum. And now, whoa, that thing smacks. We have little... What else have we got? A lot of it is just the same elements, but I've like remixed them a little bit, re-EQ'd them. For a little bit more room with this Crystal Pluck, which was the bamboo kalimba thing from the Fairlight, I have one that's pitched down an octave and Foreman shifted down an octave too. This could have just done this and it would have sounded exactly the same. But it's adding a little bit more low-mid chunk. Versus just that. Now it just feels way bigger. We have Crystally Layer 1, which is the ARP granulizer thing. Oh no, this is the ARP granulizer. She's in there. We have Crystally Layer 1. This is the exact same sound, ironically, that's been layered. It's called Belfast, and it's been layered in the Soul Shards fake out as well. You know, the... Yeah, it's the same sound, but in this case, it's being used as more of like a background textural element. And then we have the vocals in. Woohoo. New drums, like I was saying before. Vocals are sounding way better. Or rather, they're original now. We have the intro 808. I think I saturated it a little bit harder. Then here are all the vocals. Gonna save you. Stop praying to a pagan savior. I ain't never been pimped by a major. In terms of vocal processing, I didn't have to do that much. As you can see, I started overcomplicating it, but I was like, wait a second, like the Virus Syndicate dry vocals sound really good. Why am I trying to overcomplicate this? So you see there's all these effects, but only like 4 are turned on. But the one thing that I am doing, I have everything linked to this bus with a little Le Funk. This is by Zinth Audio. And it's a really high quality saturator with the worst UI you've ever seen. Well, best UI you've ever seen. Because as you can see, my wonderful face is as the OTT knob. But it's a free plugin and it's really good. So get it. There's also this Edison that I recorded on A, so I could do like a reverse vocal sweep. Some final EQing. I wanted to duck out some 1K, so they sat a little deeper in the mix. And that's about it. And then I have this entire bus going to this parallel processing. So the bus will go to the master. I'm also routing it to this convolver with a resonator impulse.
Stop praying to a pagan savior.
Because, you know, it's not color-based without chord vocals. So if I disable this... No, this is the chord
save
thing.
you. Stop praying to a
I guess I have two color-based levels.
Stop praying to a pagan savior. I ain't never been pimped.
That's the dry, but this resonator thing, also by Synth Audio, is just playing a D minor 7 chord.
Stop praying to a pagan savior.
And it's kind of acting as a nice, like, halfway blend between very melodic instrumental and very driving UK grime vocals. So, yeah, it sounded pretty sick. That has also the JD vocals going through it, and the Prima vocals going through it, I think. So, yes, moral of the story, color basify your rap vocals. They sound cool, I guess.
I was a teenager
nice.
on road.
I was a CPU that didn't work.
On road,
Cool.
17 kicked out of home. Man, I never cry, baby, no cradle.
Really
now
intense.
4 houses I own.
So we got all that going. We did some more choppery with the crystal plucks, some relayering. Yeah, pretty much same thing. The epic cello is in there.
Life is for the taking now. You're the only one that's got you.
There's the Prima vocals. They're processed a little bit differently from the rap ones. I think I did apply a little bit more to them just so we could get a spacious, echoey sound. That I did that with Echo Boy Jr., which is sick. Can't gas it up enough. Then we have the Life is There for the Taking vocals.
Taking, hold it tight and don't you let go. See them bright lights are not fading, still that shine, take it and glow.
So, Virus Syndicate sent me in this kind of chorus section where they're doing the spitting. We have one that's hard pan left and one that's hard pan right. But I decided to pitch them slightly up and down a little bit so we get this kind of chaotic nature along with
taking,
the...
hold it tight and don't you let go. See them bright lights are not fading, still that shine, take it and glow. Life is there for the taking, hold it tight.
So if you listen, this one's a little bit more chipmunky. This one's a bit more deep, but only by about 30 cents. So this is what I was sent, kind of.
Hold it tight and don't you let go. See them.
So it still sounds pretty cool, but I kind of felt like it gave it a little bit more depth and definition by pitching them up and down.
Hold it tight and don't you let go. See them.
And a little bit more tension as well. So that's pretty cool. What else have we got here? A little uplifter that starts in 3 year time. I think I added some more rises. This is an unusable project, isn't it? I have this little tech chord background chord thing that's kind of playing. This is from the Aetherial sample pack, which is really good. Then I put a little sweep before the drop. This is from an unreleased Danny Demand Skybreak track, which has a hilarious title, but no spoilers on that. Then, as you can see, we have completely chopped this drop to oblivion. You heard it was very static before, not too many fake outs, but here we have this... There's like... The FX are just completely chopped out for a quick second. We have these little chime crashes on the downbeats to just really emphasize each hit. And this Reese here, remember it was that very static, because there was originally going to be the little vocal on top because of the call and response that I originally had in mind for the drop. But when we didn't get vocals for that, I was like, okay, I have way more room to push the heck out of this. So I have this little... So without this, it's just kind of very dull, very saw wavy. But I have this peak that's just absolutely cranked to oblivion. And I kind of just wow kind of movement. You can definitely play around with a lot of fun stuff with there. So that's just done with a peak. Tons of possibilities just with an EQ. What do you know? And then I also have this M equalizer that automates in somewhere. I just want to find the automation. Where the heck is it? God, this project is disorganized. Where is that? There it is, right here. That is not it. Where is this automation? Anyway, I guess I'll just tell you guys the trick then. So this M equalizer that I have on this somewhere. Wow, it's not even working. This is awesome. No wonder I couldn't find it. I guess I'll just recreate the trick. Let me just switch to display capture really quick so you guys can see everything. Whoa, here we go. But what is fun about M equalizer is you can choose a piano note to build a chord around, or build your EQ around. This song is in D minor, so let's just pick D4 really quick. D4, hell yeah. So we're gonna crank the gain to 24 dB. Let's find a bit where we can really emphasize it. Let's just solo this so we don't have our CPU utterly die. So prepare to hear this for a bit. First thing we do, we crank the harmonics all the way up and we turn the Q all the way down. So as you can see now, it's creating all these extra harmonics within different semitone ratios that we want around this initial frequency. So in this case, it's 12 semitone gaps, so it's really fun to move around the shift knob as well. Get like a cool phasery effect. It's a lot of fun for sound design. But in this case, we're going to be a little bit more technical with it. So we're going to turn the semitone count all the way down to 1. So that means with each of these harmonics, it's 1 piano key apart. And yeah, we just kind of draw an chord. So if we add this one, this is D sharp. So this is F, and we just think in terms of building a chord. So there you go. And then we can have this cover the entire frequency spectrum if we want it to, which is really fun. We can just do copy, hit this little weird button, and then if we go to 5, we can enable it and then paste it, and it'll have exactly the same settings. And then if we enter the new value here, if we set this to D5 now, suddenly it's been evened out to the next octave. Whoa, sounds sick. Colorful and magical. We can copy that again, maybe go to band 3, do the same thing, but bring it down an octave. So G3, boom, exact same thing, and then suddenly, whoa. Now that can be a bit much on the ears, but it is really fun to kind of automate it in, especially if you're doing it before like a bunch of OTTs and stuff. So at some point in this song, before I had all these compatibility issues, I was doing something like this. Where whenever there was like a big peak, I would just like crank this little colorization EQ. It's like a whole nother cool parameter to automate. So, whoa, new color-based secret revealed. Again, it's not the most versatile thing in the world because it gives you this kind of tonal marimba sound, which sometimes you don't really want, but when it's being put before processing like this, it's a cool way to tonalize things. Ooh, crazy. Oh, this is going to be so hard to break down with the CPU. But yeah, I've just completely rechopped the basses. I like doing these manual stutter effects where I just take a really split second of a sound and then just go dip, dip, dip. So that's pretty nice. Drop sub, I also just chopped it up to match the same shebang. What else can we go over, potentially? Lots of little drum fills from Splice that I chopped up. I have this raw cuts sample pack as well, but there's over 3,000 of these like little vinyl-y sounds, and I think that's somewhere in here. I use this a lot in my track with Ace Aura Speedrun as well. Like most of the drop is just really processed raw cuts. Like that's a really cool layer there. Like that, just these little like vintage crappy things. There's a little bass hit too. I think this automation clip should be doing this. So look at that. But I guess I removed that. I guess it's a little messy with it. Chime hats are in here too. Oh yeah, so those breaks in the original, what I did was I just like, originally they were sitting like here. I just utterly cranked the heck out of it. Just super loud. And I even took the original drop snare and I added these like kind of ghost hits as well. So the drop snare, instead of just hitting on every 3, it's just goes. Ba-dun, dun, dun, dun. So I found where the snares hit in the almond break chops, and I enhanced that with new snares. Whoa. Yeah, there's all that. There's some Valhalla vintage rooms, or Valhalla vintage verbs that kind of sweep in as well that I'm hearing. That's pretty cool. Drop 2. These UK grime vocals are not via Syndicate, but they come from a royalty-free sample pack.
I'm a bad and set man when I move like yeah, emotional.
It's just various British jibber jabber that I love. But it sounds really cool over the Reese. This was more akin to what my original idea was for that drop 1, just having like a UK grime vocal over a Reese. But I was like, okay, well, let's use a royalty-free sample. And it still felt thematically cool with the tune, even if it's not actually via Syndicate voice. I believe also to counteract that, I automated on a little EQ that ducks out a little bit more of that mid-range from the Reese. So the mid-range is all just that, "Oi, motherfucker, go, or whatever." Couldn't tell you the lyrics that are being spat there. I think it ends with emotion. Don't know. I love some kick rhyme. So then I just have a very choppy. I think that I just literally chopped it the same thing 3 times, and that's the fake out. Easy enough. For a little bit more tone, I have one of my long color-based jams. This is very clearly just pitch map on a growl jam that I did at some point. Also just grabbing that from the tune. There's all that. Not much else to talk about. This is pretty much the tune. I want to see if there's any other Easter eggs or anything I can talk about really quick at the end.
Passion of Christ, keeping my passion alive.
No, that's pretty much it. That we went over most of the tune. Just the rest of it's kind of nitpicky, crash-enhancing stuff. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching. My name is Skybreak. Be sure to go stream Steal That Shine with Virus Syndicate and Prima. It is out now on all platforms on the Sick World EP. Once again, it means a lot to be in the Disciple HQ IRL. As of filming this, I'm playing a show tonight at the Moroccan Lounge. I'm also on tour with Chime. And we've got quite a few dates left by the time this is out. So if you're in Texas, if you're in Alberta, Canada, where else are we playing? Minneapolis. Yeah, come see us. It'll be cool. So you can hear tunes like Steal That Shine played really loud. Once again, my name is Skybreak. Love you all so much. Catch you guys next time.